Hi, this is Mr. Ye. I'm gonna do a live stream on your Conic review. Bear with me. This is a very crappy setup. So we're gonna go through all the question about for tomorrow's test. Okay, bye. I'm gonna flip the channel to the other side, and we're gonna go through each problem detail by detail. Okay. So we're gonna copy this link to you guys. Hopefully you guys can see it. So I'm going to Emodo and copy this link to you. Let me see. Not this one. Channel. Videos. Share. Copy link. Hi, I'm gonna go through all the questions, but I'm having a hard time sharing the video. Just give me a second. So here's a video to go through, here's a live stream that going through each question by detail. So, so we're gonna start with the first question. The first question says 9x squared plus 16y squared. So this is a plus, kind of tell me a lot of things. So if you have x squared and y squared present together at the same time, in order to classify this, is automatically is not parabola. So parabola either have x squared or y squared, but it doesn't have both. So when you have both, you come down to three choices. So we're gonna write down all the choices for here first. So first thing you want to classify the conic sections. So we got how many conic sections? We got parabola, and we got, sorry, my handwriting is really ugly. We got circle, and we got hyperbola, and we got ellipse. So we're gonna talk about what equality is this. So we're gonna go through really fast again. Parabola is the only x squared or y squared present. So we can write here, it says x squared or y squared, but not both. So this one's x squared and y squared, and they have the same coefficients. So usually they are either 1 and 1, 1y squared. Hyperbola and ellipse, the only thing different is the x squared and y squared are different coefficients. So you got x squared, maybe is a value a, and the minus b y squared, or y squared minus x squared. It can possibly be like that. So only the difference between hyperbola and ellipse is the minus sign and plus sign. Of course, ellipse is going to be the positive one. So it's going to be the positive one. So, so let me write down on the other side. So maybe that will help you a lot. So we got hyperbola. So how do you classify hyperbola and ellipse? And we got circle and parabola. So this one is x squared, or that means not both. So y squared. So either you have x squared or y squared, but not both. Not both x squared and y squared. So that was easiest one to identify. Now circles are not the easy one to identify because you got x squared and y squared, and they both have same coefficient. So the value here and the value here should be the same, or usually is equal to 1. Then ellipse. Ellipse is different. Ellipse is you have x squared and y squared, but you have number in the front. You got a number in the front, and they are different number. Usually different number, different coefficients. Coefficient. And so these two numbers are not the same, but the only thing that really told you is the ellipse and hyperbola is the plus sign and negative sign. You just kind of think about parabola is going this way, facing each other is positive, and facing outward is the other way. So this one here, x squared and y squared, this have different coefficient, different, and this one is negative sign. So negative signs go into hyperbola, positive sign go ellipse. And we can talk about later about their foci. Their foci is actually the opposite signs. So that's the things we're going to come back to talk about a lot. So hopefully you can go into that. So we're going to come back to this. So I'm going to try to write a better handwriting now because it's kind of sitting in an awkward position. So first of all, we had to classify the conic section. So if you have x squared and y squared, but automatically both presented, so it's not parabola. And then since it's different coefficients, so it's not a circle. So your thought process has to be that way. And since this adding in between, so we can conclude that's ellipse. So you kind of go through step by steps and go into all the things and actually recognize everything. So I'm going to do the first questions here. I'm going to hold it sideways because I think I have to do a better job writing. So I'm first going to complete the square. So at 9x squared minus 18x and plus 16y squared plus 64y and is equal to 71. If I move to the other side, it becomes positive. Okay. So now we have to factor out the leading coefficient, which is a 9 and 16. So we're going to factor out 9. And we factor out it's going to be 9 squared minus 2x and plus 16 y squared plus, well, this divided by 16 here is going to be 4y and is equal to 71. So now we had to learn how to complete the square, which is this minus 2 divided by 1, taking the middle term divided by 2, after you factor out leading coefficient, of course. And then we're going to square parenthesis and square, so it's going to be sorry, divided by 2. So it's going to be negative 1 squared, that's equal to 1. So we're going to add 1 here, but we're not really adding 1. Essentially, that we are thinking about adding a number that is multiplied by that 1 because there's a coefficient in the front. So we're going to add 9 to this side. Okay, so this side is adding 9. Now we're going to add another number here, which is 4 divided by 2. And then square, so it's going to be 2 squared, that's equal to 4. So, but are we really adding 4? Well, we have to look at the coefficient again. Sometimes you have to pay attention to this sign. This sign's minus sign, then you have to do something different. But this one is a plus, so it's a lot easier. So when hyperbola is a little bit harder. So this one is plus 64. It's because 4 times 16 is 64. So it's equal to plus 64. Okay. So now we're going to complete the square. So it'll be 9 times x minus 1 square plus 16 times y plus 2 squared, because see this number is really easy when you complete the square. That's why I have you guys write it out. That's equal to 80 plus 64, which is 144. 144 is a great number because 144 is one of those common factors.
这怎么叫？
517. So now we're going to divide it by, so remember that if you have an ellipse or hyperbola or circle, not circle, but ellipse and hyperbola, this one has to be 1. So we're going to divide it by every term by 144, every term by 144, every term by 144. So that's going to be x minus 1 squared. Well, 9 and 144 is one of the factors. So I believe that it comes down to 16. and this one is going to be 16. This one's going to be 9, and that's a pretty nice because now again you had to do this without calculator. That's the only thing I'm worried about your arithmetic. It's equal to 1. So we just finished the thing here, which is this the equation. This will work with a lot of points here because it tells you all the information here. So now we're gonna go draw it. But what's the center? Center usually, so when we have a ellipse, so we need to find out the center. So center, you need to write it down as a coordinate, and usually it's opposite sign of the parentheses. So it's gonna be 1 and -2. Okay, 1, -2. So what I do is actually go draw it. And once you go draw it, you can get a lot of things done. So if you draw it, it's going to be going right 1 and -2. So make sure this is my center. Center is going from both directions. Now, this is the x direction of expansion because this is over a squared, because you know the standard form is something over a squared, something over b squared, but the a squared told you how far you had to expand the x direction. So that it means you had to expand 4 units to the right. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then the y is going to go up 3 units. So it'll be 1, 2, 3. So that's going to be here. 1, 2, 3. That's going to be here. So now you found those 4 points, which is they are called vertices and co-vertices. Vertice is a longer side, and or this is called major axis. This is called minor axis. This is going to be a vertice. So you can just look at it. So vertice is 2 points because they are pro. So you just have to record down. It's going to be 5 and -2, as well as -3 and -2. So that's my vertices. Co-vertice is just as easy. It's going to be 1, 1, and 1 to the -5. And you just get this done, this done, this done. The only thing is the foci. Well, the foci, so here's the things to look at it. So I'm going to flip to the back page here. For ellipse, this part is going to be c squared equal to, well, you know this is going to be minus sign because you start with a positive sign, it's going to change the sign to minus sign. But in order to get minus, you cannot have negative number, so you had to have a bigger number subtract the smaller number. So the long square minus the short square, which is that's the distance. We're going to talk about that. C square, this the distance, and C is the distance from center to foci. So we're going to have to operate it correctly. Okay, hopefully you guys doing okay, and please comment it, let me know how I'm doing, because I am in the morning and I'm not in a very good mood. No, actually I'm in a good mood. Okay, so I can go ahead and draw the ellipse here. So the ellipse is going to be like this, and ellipse is going to be like this, and ellipse is going to be like this, and the ellipse is going to be like this. That's okay, not too ugly. So here, I'm gonna have to find the foci. But first, identify what's major and minor axes. So this is the major, this is the minor. But we say foci is always located at where? Well, it's located at major axis. So somewhere around here and somewhere around here, but we have to really find a distance from here to over there. So then we need the 2 distances. So it's going to be c squared equal to the long square. We're going to write down as the long square minus the short square. Well, 16 and 9, which one is longer? Well, of course, is 16.
说55,187啊。
55,178. So c squared is equal to, well, remember, what this one is essentially is, in this case, is going to be a squared minus b squared. So a must be 4. Remember, it's actually this number. It's not 16 squared. It's actually just 16, because we're going to say 4 squared minus 9 squared. Oh, 4 squared minus 3 squared, sorry. Because a in this case is equal to 4, b is equal to 3. So that's equal to, is equal to 16 minus 9, which is roughly equal to 7. C squared is equal to 7, therefore C is equal to square root 7. Now, you understand on the major axis. Major axis is located right here. So then you had to add it to the, adding and subtracting to the x directions, not to the y direction. So you start with the center. I usually write down where the center is, but so what I'm going to do is I'm going to write down the foci, which is a pearl, which is both. So, and I'm going to write down the center because 1, -2, 1, -2. And we're going to add to the x direction because it's located here. So it's going to be this center adding to the x direction or the subtracting to the x direction. So therefore is the 1 plus square root of 7 and 1. Sorry, I'm going to change that. It's going to be 1 minus square root of 7. So let me rewrite it again. 1 plus square root of 7 to the -2, and the 1 minus square root of 7 to the -2. Okay. So any questions here? So that's the first question. Well, what is square root of 7? Square root of 7 is less than 3, but it's greater than 2. So roughly, I would say is equal to it's equal to maybe 2 point something, 2.6. So it's 1 plus 2.6, so roughly is 3.6. So 3.6 is roughly right here. At 3.6 is right here. Okay, so that is my foci. And we've done the first question. Yay! And there's one a harder one. Okay, so we're gonna go to the next question. The next question is the hyperbola. Hyperbola is right here. So again, we're gonna classify first. So the first one we need to classify is ellipse. So just by write down it's ellipse, I give you some points. And this gonna give you a majority of points, and then rest of the information is gonna give you some points. But make sure you follow all the things I'm asking for, because you have to know each detail. Now the next one. So hyperbola. Hyperbola is right here. Well, we know this coefficient are different because x squared and y squared both present. So you see here x squared and y squared. And the coefficient are different, so therefore it's not circle. And the minus sign is going to give you the hyperbola. But what's the things that hyperbola you need to know? What depends which direction is. So if it's x squared minus y squared, in this case, x come first, so you're going to hyperbola going this way. Something over maybe a squared over b squared is equal to 1. And you have you have y squared minus x squared over, I don't know, b squared minus a squared is equal to 1. So it's going to open. So depending on which the letter come in, is x coming first or the y coming first, they actually tell you which direction they open. So it's this way open here and this way open here. So that's just something you need to know. So let's go back to this question. So trust me, this is one of the harder one, and this is the very beginning. So you just need to take it step by step, and you're gonna get through it. So here it's gonna be 4x squared minus 24x. Well, this one already separate the x and y. That's pretty nice. You see, this is the two things I'm paying attention to, and this is the two things I'm paying attention to. So it's different. So it's either ellipse or hyperbola, but this is the minus sign really told me it's hyperbola. Okay, I'm surprised only 2 people watching. Who are those people, by the way? Can you comment it on the bottom? Now it's 1. Whoever is that? I don't know if I can see the comment. Can you comment on the bottom? Okay, well, anyway, whoever is watching, thank you. At least I'm not doing for nothing. So this one's going to be parenthesis and a parenthesis. And then we're going to factor out a negative. We're going to have minus 9y squared minus 90y is equal to 153. Let's move into the other side. So now we're going to have a parenthesis here. Sorry. This is really bad, so I'm probably going to redraw it. So we're going to factor out a 4. 4 times x squared minus 6x, okay, is, now here's the problem. You're going to factor out a negative 9 because you don't want it to be, let's just say, you don't want to have a negative 9 inside a parenthesis. You want to make sure it's positive. So I'm going to factor out a negative 9 here. And then that's going to be y squared minus 10y. Well, that's actually plus, because this one, if you factor out, it's going to be plus 10 y. And then is equal to 153. So now we're going to add a number here. So hopefully you got through this part. I'm sorry, I kind of do it really bad handwriting. I might want to do it again. So I'm going to cross this out. I'm going to cross this out. I'm going to do it again. So I'm going to do 4x squared minus 24x. And this is some type of things. And then we're going to have a minus 9y squared minus 90y is equal to 153. So now we're going to complete the square. So that help you write it. I keep some space here, just kind of tells me what happened. Now I'm going to factor out 4, so it's going to be x squared minus 6x. And we're going to factor out a negative 9, because it's not positive 9. Make sure this is negative 9. Hyperbola, that's the most difficult part. Minus 9 to the y squared plus 10y is equal to 153. But we don't know what number we have to add to the other side, because there's a here and there's a here. So now you gotta take account as negative. So the people that can make mistake is that right here. If you factor out a negative 9, that's gonna have to change the sign as well. And that's where people get confused. So now it's gonna be negative 6 divided by 2, parentheses squared, that's equal to negative 3 squared, that's equal to 9. So it's gonna be plus 9 here. And this one's 10 divided by 2, parentheses squared, that's equal to 5 squared, that's equal to 25. Hopefully I didn't do my math wrong. But now here's the hard part, because this one's plus 9. You gotta be careful now. This one's plus 9 here. So therefore it's plus 36. This one's easy, but the next one is where the tricky part happened. So 9 times 25, but are you sure that's positive? But the here is a negative sign. So pay attention to here, that minus sign is going to change everything. So that minus 9 times 25. So 9 times 25 is going to be minus 225. So essentially this has a net lost. So this one here, it has negative 225 here, and here is going to be plus 36. So plus 36. So therefore it's going to be minus 225. So, but doing that hopefully we can get a right number. So we're gonna work out this side first. So 36, that's equal to 189 minus 225. So that's going to be 4, complete a square, so it's going to be x minus 3 squared minus 9 times y plus 5 squared, and almost there. So it's going to be equal to negative 36. 4 times x minus 3 squared minus 9. I think this is the hardest question for you for tomorrow because there's a lot of process. But what happens is negative 36. We say this part has to be positive. So we can divide it both sides by negative 36, negative 36, and negative 36. So that's going to cause this to be x minus 3 squared over negative 9. And now here it's going to be negative over negative becomes positive. So that's going to be 1 over 4 times y plus 5. And then squared, that's equal to 1. So we're going to see this is a plus sign. There's an issue here, but there's a minus sign here. So we can change the order. So it's going to be y plus 5 squared over 4 minus x minus 3 over 9 is equal to 1. So if this occurs, now you have to pay attention to a couple of things now. Here, y comes first. That tells me it's different than the normally is. So first of all, you had to identify this as a negative side. If it's a negative side, you need to divide it by a negative number. And this negative over negative becomes positive. So that is the problem here. So now we're going to have to draw our box for hyperbola. But where's the center? The center has to be careful because this one is for x. So center is 3, and the y is a negative 5. Now, this one you can have the bottle done. So 3, make sure this is going to be 3. And then make sure I count the right side. Negative 5 is right here. So that is my center. Now I'm going to have to draw the box accordingly. So remember x, whatever responsible for x, this one is going to be square root of that. So it's going to go 3 units to the right and 3 units to the left. And the y is going to go 2 units because square root of 4 is 2. So 2 units to here and 2 units to here. So then now you're going to have to draw a box. Okay, so now draw a box because based on this, and then you're going to draw a diagonal line for the box. Sorry, it should go through here. Now, since it's a y direction, so the parabola has to face here, face this orientation, face this orientation. Oh no. And this is going to be face this orientation, this orientation. So what are the few things I need to tell? Center, we already done this part. Vertices, well, vertice is those 2 points right here. So this 2 point is going to be vertices. It's going to be, now my iPad may be running out of battery, so vertice is going to be 3 and negative 3. And 3 and negative 7. So this is called transverse axis, so which is everything happening on this axis. So transverse axis is this way, therefore foci has to be. Remember, we talked about parabola, like a Pac-Man. This is like a Pac-Man. This is like a Pac-Man is eating the candy. This Pac-Man is eating the candy. So the Pac-Man is facing outward now. So therefore, candy should be somewhere here. We had to go find it though. So here's the problem that we're gonna go find it. The finding this is actually not too bad. So you start with a minus sign here, then it's going to be c squared equal to a squared plus b squared. This one's a lot easier. This one looks like Pythagorean identities because it started with negative sign, it would end up to be plus sign. So it doesn't matter which order, which way you subtract, so it's pretty easy. C squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. So this is an a squared number, this is a b squared number. So we're going to call it 2 squared plus 3 squared. Now that's going to be 4 plus 9, c squared, c is equal to square root 13. So square root 13 roughly 3 point something. Okay, it's about roughly because 3 to 4, so we're going to say roughly 3.5. Now which direction I'm adding to that? So I'm adding to, well, we say it has to be somewhere here. It has to be somewhere in this region. So we actually added to the center. We're adding to the y direction. So foci is going to be adding to the y direction. So I'm going to write down my center first because based on the center, adding to the y value. So what's my center? It was just 3 and negative 5. And then 3 to negative 5. Now we're going to only add it to the y direction. It's going to be plus square root 13 and minus square root 13, or subtract, okay? So here is going to give you all the points here, and which is one of the harder thing for you. Now this one is probably the hardest questions. The rest of them is our cake. We should be done in the next few minutes. But this one is definitely the hardest one. So this 2 is the hardest one. The next one is okay. Now this one's only y squared, so therefore is definitely, there's no x squared present, so therefore there has to be just the parabola. So we're going to classify this. So we've got to classify this one. This one's hyperbola. We say it, but we didn't write it down. Now this one is going to be y squared plus 2y plus 4x minus 4. So we're going to split up y squared plus 2y is equal to minus 4x plus 7. Remember that is equal to this. Either is y minus k squared equal to 4p. That's called lattice rectum, or focal width, x minus h. Okay, so therefore you either set up this way or this way. So it's x minus h squared equal to 4p x y minus k. So either this one or this one, but in this case it's y squared first, so I'm going to set up this order. So I'm going to complete square. We're going to leave this number. It's equal to negative 4x plus 7. So there's no leading coefficient here, so it's not an issue. So we're going to add 1 here, and we're going to add 1 here. So therefore we both add 1, so complete the square on this side, y plus 1 parentheses square. This one's going to be minus 4x plus 8. Now you have to factor out this, factor out the 4p, so which is negative 4 times x minus 2. Make sure you distribute back is equal to here, y plus 1 square. So where's my vertex? Vertex, according to the last thing we need to look for vertex, which is 2 and negative 1. Okay, 2 and negative 1 is my vertex. Which way I'm facing? Well, we know it's y squared is going to be facing left and right. Left or right. X squared is going to be up and down. Depends. So this one is y squared. So how do I know if it's left and right? Well, it depends on this. This is my 4p is negative, so it's facing left. So 4p is equal to -4, p is equal to -1. So -1 is going to be toward this side. This is my focus. Okay? And to the 1 unit away, remember, this is the parabola is facing this way. But we're going to actually draw it. So I hear that we're going to draw the directress. The directress is going to be 1 distance away. So remember, the ghost is chasing the Pac-Man. The Pac-Man is eating the candy. They all have equal distance. So the directress is going to be right here. So this is the directress. It's going to be x is equal to 3 because this is the line x equal to 3. And then we're going to have to draw the lattice rectum. Remember, is something from here is going to be exactly 4 p's apart. So that means it's going to go up 2 units because the total length is going to be 4p here. So from here it's going to go up 2 units here. And from here it's going to go down 2 units. So it's going to be like this. So the parabola here is actually 4 units apart. So that's called Latus Rectum. So this is a 4p. So this is the ass we are talking about. Okay, this is a butthole, which is your focus, and this is directress. So let me write it down. And this is your vertex. And here's your focus. And here is your lattice rectum. Remember lattice rectum? Where lattice rectum means a butt, so you kind of have to draw a butt here. And here's a butthole. Anyway, sorry for inappropriate language, but I'm sure you're fine. You guys are mature adults. The last one for tomorrow. So this is if you get down to this part, you're on a good track. Directress, you have vertex, you have focus. Lattice rectum, you don't need to tell me anything, you just have to draw it out. This is exactly 4, which is that 4. Negative sign is told me facing the left. I almost ran out of battery, so hopefully I can finish this one. This one's a circle. If I didn't finish this one, then actually this is something you can do. X squared plus 12x. This one's the easy one. I will do this one tomorrow first. And plus y squared minus 6y is equal to 4. So this one here is going to plus 12 divided by 2 squared, that's equal to 6 squared, that's equal to 36. So plus 36 and negative 6 squared is going to be negative 3 squared. That's equal to 9. So we're going to plus 9 on this side. So we're going to plus 36 plus 9. So here it's going to be x plus 6 squared plus y minus 3 squared is equal to, I think this is 49. Since this is a circle, so we didn't classify this circle. This is an easy one because you got x squared, you got y squared, they have same coefficient. So this one's going to be negative 6. So center is going to be negative 6 and 3. And the radius is equal to square root 49, which is equal to 7. So negative 6, positive 3. It's going to go 7 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's going to be right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's going to be here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's going to be right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is going to be a circle. It's going to be a circle. It's going to be a circle. It's going to be a circle. Therefore, you're done. Who are those 3 people here? Can anybody comment on this, please? Monica, hey, how are you? Uh, can you let Jenny know I'm on live stream as well, your best friend? Um, so I just finished the first part of the test, which is tomorrow. Um, but I'm gonna do the next part on the next video. Um, because my iPad's running out of battery. But this is the first part of the test. You're gonna have exactly the same setup. You're gonna have a first question, which is, I don't know what is it. I cannot tell you, but you can identify those hopefully, and make sure you identify those. And so you got a full, you got good enough time to do this. So tomorrow's test is gonna be the first 2 pages. So for the first time, because I'm not here, I don't want to do something crazy. So you're gonna have first 2 pages. It could be any order. Of course, I will pick the easy one to do. I'll pick this one to do because this one you get done. You got, quarter points, and you got this one. If you can do this one is probably one of the harder one too, because Parabola, we just don't have a lot of experience. Hopefully you can get it done though. Basically, you start by looking at is going up and down because of y square and x. So y square is going to go up and down. Since -4 is going to tell you left and right, but it's negative, it must be left. So it could be the other way. So if you got x plus 1 square, then it's going to go up and down, and -4 is going to face down. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow a little bit more. Actually, we're going to talk about today as soon as I charge my iPad. This is the first section of live stream, and this is tomorrow's test. Only 4 questions tomorrow, and hopefully, I know those 3 people are watching is going to do really good, but I don't know what happened to the rest of people. Nobody's watching on my live stream. And so hopefully you can let all your friends know. Who else is on there besides Monica? Anybody can come? Nobody can comment? Nobody? There's 3 people is watching. I don't know who are you. Or you probably put me in mute. That's cruel. Nobody? Okay, anyway, I feel sad. Okay, so today, as soon as I charge my iPad, I will finish this 2 parts, that's also one of the harder part for you guys. So you guys only have to be responsible for 4 questions tomorrow. Again, only 4. Okay, so make sure you can do all 4. Make sure this one is the hyperbola is the paying one, because you have to factor out -9, the sign change,